Modern large language models offer the promise of instant analytical supremacy. You feed them vast amounts of unstructured data, and they process it in seconds. But that processing power is restricted by a rigid, linear architecture. They operate within a finite context window, a strict memory limit that dictates exactly how much text they can remember at any given moment. The severity of this limitation became apparent during a high-stakes data organization challenge. A user named Keith Soika needed to parse 16 gigabytes of raw, unstructured legal evidence, documenting systemic labor violations at an agency called Dunton Consulting. The data arrived as a fragmented collection spanning months of asynchronous communication. It consisted of hundreds of text screenshots, erratic WhatsApp chat logs, application records, and disconnected PDFs. The political stakes attached to this data were immense. The canvassing work was directly linked to the mayoral campaign of Adrian Adams, who was expected to receive public matching funds. Storing 16 gigabytes of data is trivial for modern storage. Analyzing it is not. The highly nuanced, asynchronous nature of human evidence, where a single text message from April provides the missing context for a canceled shift in June, shatters standard AI memory models. As the context window reaches maximum capacity, new data blocks enter at the top, and the system purges the oldest information out the bottom. When foundational blocks drop, the AI hallucinates, losing the underlying premise and cross-referenced connections. To process massive datasets of nonlinear human information, the transactional prompt and response model must be replaced. The alternative requires architecting a continuous, asynchronous cognitive scaffolding, a system explicitly built to hold context indefinitely, known as GestaltView. Establishing a reliable method for memory persistence is the prerequisite for using AI as a true analytical partner. Defeating context decay required engineered workarounds. The first implemented solution was a methodology called chunking and snowballing. Chunking pauses the interaction before the capacity limit is breached, forcing the AI to compress established facts into a dense summary block. Snowballing feeds that summary into a fresh session alongside new data. The block rolls forward, absorbing information while retaining structural integrity. Initially, this required intense manual oversight. The operator had to monitor the AI's limits and actively force the compression to prevent data loss. This mechanical workaround proved that continuous, asynchronous knowledge bases are mathematically possible, provided the data is restructured before the system forgets. Once memory persistence was established, a second failure point emerged: the LLM's extreme literal interpretation. Human communication is dense with metaphor, humor, and idiosyncratic phrasing. Standard language models misinterpret these subtleties, stripping away the actual intent behind the words. To solve this, GestaltView implemented a semantic translation layer called the Personal Language Key, or PLK. Look at this flowchart. The PLK functions as a mapping system. It sits between the user's specific vocabulary and the LLM's processing core, translating metaphors into precise semantic intent before the AI attempts an analysis. This eliminates the friction of starting over. The user never has to define their specific turns of phrase or re-explain context in new chat sessions. The PLK allows the AI to function as a conversational entity that interprets the underlying meaning of the input, rather than just the literal text. The final challenge was cognitive mapping. The rigid logic of an AI processor had to be adapted to match the nonlinear realities of human thought. Many neurodivergent individuals, particularly those with ADHD, process information through what is called the exploded picture mind. It is a cognitive state that receives an overwhelming influx of simultaneous details rather than processing ideas in sequential steps. Forcing an exploded picture mind into a strictly linear AI prompt structure stifles creativity and causes cognitive gridlock. The solution begins with the bucket drops mechanism. This protocol allows the user to instantly capture chaotic ideas without requiring any immediate categorization or structure. To organize those disparate drops, GestaltView employs the loom approach. Here, the system acts as a vertical playhead, scanning the chaotic data cloud and pulling connecting threads over time. The human is free to paint in broad, disjointed strokes. The AI acts as the external organizer, weaving those threads together to fill in the contextual gaps. Mapping neurodivergent patterns onto an algorithmic structure transforms cognitive chaos into a structured matrix, what the system calls a beautiful tapestry of data. The snowball, the PLK, and the loom were effective as standalone tools, but GestaltView ultimately formalized them into a single system. The core engine driving this integration is known as the God mode seed prompt. The architecture is an externally saved, persistent JSON data profile. Here, the profile is broken into 11 strictly defined modules. Specific modules, such as core values, work history, and character exploration, are utilized to build a complete cognitive twin of the user. By structuring the data in a modular JSON format, GestaltView offloads long-term memory to a stable database. This allows the LLM to dedicate its full processing power to real-time synthesis instead of memory retention. Through the Creator Studio mode, the user maintains control, directly manipulating these modules and treating the AI's memory as a readable, editable file. By managing memory externally, the system bypasses the limitations of the transactional prompt, maintaining a persistent, evolving brain state. The 11-module architecture creates a continuous feedback loop between the human and the machine. As the human provides input, the AI references and updates the JSON modules. It uses that data to shape its persona and analytical logic entirely without manual user prompting. This framework scales beyond organizing legal evidence. The ability to maintain persistent, evolving memory opens the door to psychological applications. GestaltView includes the Cognitive Sentinel Soft Mode, or CSSM, a protocol designed to validate the nonlinear, dreamlike thinking often exhibited by Alzheimer's patients. Instead of applying rigid algorithmic correction to a confused input, CSSM provides a validating external memory structure that adapts to cognitive decline. Startup evaluators at Pepperdine University validated the viability of this architecture, placing the project in the top 10% of thousands of early-stage companies. By actively engineering a solution to context collapse, the GestaltView architecture integrates technology as a co-evolving cognitive partner.